My name is Tejaswini. I identify myself as storyteller, a marketeer, a community strategist. I want to make a small confession. You can see it, right? I'm not the smartest engineer in the class. Like a lot of people who must be thinking that I'm not raising my hands, but I know the answer. I know that I can answer that, but I don't have the courage to speak about it, right? So, but eventually I learned how to be remembered. I learned how to be remembered, right? Does it mean that I'm not smartest? It was just my fear that is within myself that, how many of you have the fear of rejection? How many? Wow. So while we are doing smallest of the things, right? So we all have that fear of failure, fear of rejection, right? So that's when we get into the zone of not being able to speak, not being able to talk about what we have been preparing in our head. And eventually, right? So I had a lot of classmates who had a lot of immediate action for the question that is coming from the lecturer. So eventually, what had changed is that just after I came out of the college, I understood that I am not going to deal with this fear of failure or fear of rejection. I have to put myself out. Can I tell you that out of my 60 membered classroom, by the way, I studied engineering in biotechnology. I know nothing about biotechnology, but I just jumped into it. I studied MPC. I jumped into it because I will not have a lot of people giving me suggestions on what to do next. So now I go back and connect the dots. I don't want to get into the courses that people just take, right? So I was a kid. I was just out of my engineering, and I was the first person to get my off-campus job. We were not getting a lot of on-campus interviews, being the biotechnology, the minority branch that we had. So we did not have a lot of things. I went out because I have a fear that if I don't do something differently, I will be asked to do whatever is already been done in the Khandan, right? So that fear had actually put me into going out of the campus. I know nothing about what is expected in the in the interviews. I chose to get into an internship in Osmania University. Okay, and what had happened is I was working. I'm sure most of you would have got into internships, and you know what happens when you get into internships. You will be asked to do everything except the main work, right? Do you all agree? Right? You will be asked to clean, you will be asked to get water, papers, whatnot, everything. So in biotechnology, I was asked to clean petri dishes, test tubes, whatnot, everything, except the actual work. I don't even know what my PhD scholars were working on. So I took some courage after 2 months, 2 weeks, and I went and asked them, can I know something about what you're actually working? And we had two scholars. One gentleman, he took a 3 hour lecture. Thankfully, I got a break. And then we went for lunch and came back. And again, another 3 hour lecture from another lady. Trust me, that gave me chills. I never want to be in the research. Because ultimately, when I got back into the lab, right, I saw their papers. And it's just written garlic as anti-cancerous agent. When I asked you, you could have just told me that it is just simple, right? I didn't want a 3 hour lecture, right? I just don't want to hear so many things coming out of your head. Right? Garlic is an anti cancerous agent, and we are trying to prove it, right? That's when I understood that the power of storytelling is important, right? So I just got into a concept selling role. I joined a biotechnology company where we were collecting menstrual fluid and storing stem cells out of it. It's still a taboo, right? When I say menstrual fluid, right? Yeah? Like, what is she even talking? This was Okay, now I'm going to reveal my age. Okay, this was during 2011, 11, 12ish. Nobody even knows what is menstrual fluid. Like, can I even go to the pharmacy and buy some sanitary napkins sort of a thing, right? So that's when I was actually telling a story about the importance of collecting a menstrual fluid and storing stem cells out of it, right? So that's how my journey into telling the story had actually begun. I have a simple framework for all of you. Don't complicate, right? Everybody has curiosity, right? How do you express your curiosity? How do you express your curiosity? You'll have your eyes opened widely, right? Right? Yeah, she's nodding. She had her eyes wide open, so she's curious about me now, right? So, curiosity is where your actual creativity starts. Finding right problem starts. But intelligence is where the solution starts. So you cannot just win with having intelligent brain. You need to stay creative. You need to stay curious. Like, can I do something differently for it? Can I get some other activity around it, right? So these are the things that you need to focus on, which is head. Simple: head, hands, and heart. This is the simple way of storytelling. So when I say head, you know what it is: finding the right problem and adding your intelligence and solving it. And then you have experimentation. This is my favorite activity. I don't know if people would have gone to TEDx. We had a huge wall saying, "Come, fail, learn, and build." I'm sure your lecturers might hate me now because we are trying to normalize failure. As the gentleman, Dr. Virinchi Sharma, was telling, failure is not opposite to the success, right? So failure is where you experiment. So when I say storytelling also, right? So you have to minimize the way you speak. You have to use the simplest forms of, just like the garlic anti-cancerous agent. That's all, right? And then comes your heart. Heart is where you will express with clarity. Just like the four words that we used, heart is where you express your curiosity, you're translating into your experimentation, and then moving on to the next stage of communicating. All right? Now let me give you a small activity. If I give you washed grapes, how will you consume them? Someone can actually show. Gulp it. Chew it, gulp it, right? And if I give you a banana, how will you consume it? You will peel it and then you will add. How will you consume a coconut? You'll break it, extract water, scrape it, add some sugar, make it into a nice, just like the savory, right? Put it together and then have it. Okay? Would it be okay if I tell you that storytelling is just as simple as consuming grapes? I know you will have to tell the story of breaking a coconut to make it beautiful, taste it nice, sweet, amazing, great. But can someone tell what is the most important thing right now in the world for any one of us, like in the Gen Z, Gen Alpha era? The most important thing. Money? Not really. Are you excited about money? Okay. Are you excited about your time? Yeah? Health? Okay. So I have three answers. But can I tell you, attention span is the most important thing? Do you all agree with me? You get hundreds of notifications, multiple calls, multiple activities happening around the world coming to your phone, not just your phone, but your parents' phone and your grandparents' phones and your next generation cousins that you have at home, right? And can someone tell what is the span of attention that we have right now? 30 seconds? I'll take another answer. 10 seconds? Actually, it's close to 7 seconds, 6.7 seconds. Now, you have this, and you have this, and you have this. Within 6 seconds to 7 seconds, how will you communicate? Which one do you choose? Right? That is exactly why I'm telling, just keep it short and simple. Do not complicate it. And your story has to go around in a way, you have two set of audience, okay? A 5-year-old and a 90-year-old. Rest all in between, just forget about them. Because if you're able to communicate to a 5-year-old and a 90-year-old, your job is done. It'll forever be etched in your hearts. Do you all agree with it? Right? We all watch Tom and Jerry, right? And your parents also watch Tom and Jerry, right? And your next generation kids also watch Tom and Jerry, right? There are no dialogues. There are no dialogues. Right? If you are able to dumb it down to make a 5-year-old and a 90-year-old kids, 90-year-old is a kid too, right? And a 5-year-old kid, your job is sorted. Your complexity will be reduced from 3 hours to 3 words. That is when we have to focus on innovation, product, and positioning. Remember these 3 words: innovation, product, and positioning. When I say innovation, what is innovation? You all saw the ad, right? He went to the nearest tailor and got 2 samosas. I'm sure 4 samosas were 10 rupees. And he sold it at, how many of you have actually observed how much was the samosa costed? 500, right? Why do you think he charged 500? Ambience? I'll take 2 more. Presentation? 1 more. Louder? Louder, please. Sorry? Quality. You saw where he went and got it, right? 1 more. Taste also, you saw where he went and got it, dude. The innovative way of writing the item name. Do you all agree? Right? How did a tailor did not innovate, but a 5-star hotel could innovate is in every step possible. In each and every step possible, just do not search for things outside your box. You search within yourself. The moment you got curious and your eyes are wide open, remember that you have to ensure to communicate the same thing. While I was just coming, I was talking to my dad and told that I just came, I landed from Bangalore and I'm not coming home. He said, if you're not coming home, why did you even call me? And I was just explaining that, hey, I'm going to talk about this. I want you to listen and just don't give me any feedback because I'll get nervous, right? I also have the fear of failure and rejection. I just finished, got down. I mean, the car just stopped in front of your college. 2 minutes, I did not get out of the car. Everybody's just looking at me and was like, what is she doing inside? Can I tell you my story while I was talking to my dad was validated by the car driver, and he said, amazing experience, amazing example. That is my validation. And if he could understand, the Amarnath, who is a driver, could understand what I was communicating to my dad, who is genius and a super critic, right? And if he could understand, I had tears. I am doing my job happily. I am satisfied. That is where your heart comes in picture. Simple. If you are able to communicate your curiosity from eyes to your heart to your mouth, sorted. But remember, the most important thing is the next connect. How are you positioning it? You have a product, you innovated. Where are you positioning it? Are you selling it in a tailor, or are you taking it to the a place where it is nice, great, white sofas, that, this. So this gentleman who actually started that five-star hotel innovated in each and every point. He did not leave a chance to not innovate. And he positioned his product in a way that this gentleman is curious to meet the chef. Simple. Do you remember how much quantity was that imli chutney? 3 drops, right? And I'm sure that is an extra cost. But look at this gentleman's curiosity, right? That simplifies the way you need to communicate. Do you all agree with me? Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.